What is up, everybody? Night Batman here with another movie review, and today I'm gonna be reviewing the latest Star Wars film, Star Wars The Last Jedi. I just saw it in theaters and I really enjoyed it, but what problems did I have and what did I enjoy most? Let's talk about it. Now, Star Wars The Last Jedi is the 8th Star Wars film, well, the 8th main film. Of course, we also got Rogue One, which was kind of like a spin-off slash prequel to Star Wars A New Hope, but this, of course, finally continues the story from Force Awakens, which we had to wait 2 years for, but I think that the wait was really worth it. The story takes place right after Star Wars The Force Awakens, but kind of after this opening scene in the beginning of the film, but right after that, then yeah, we follow right up where the last film left off, of Rey handing Luke Skywalker's lightsaber to him, and all the characters return, and they are really top-notch in their acting in this film. You can really see that these characters and these actors have really gotten used to these roles and have brought even more humanity to these characters, making them feel more real and showing more vulnerability to them, which I really enjoyed. So we got characters like Rey, Finn, Kylo Ren, everyone coming back, and even the original characters from the original trilogy. Luke Skywalker, who plays an even bigger role in this, Princess Leia, Chewbacca, C-3PO, and R2-D2, and so on and so forth. So let's kind of break it down a little bit. We of course have Rey coming back, played by Daisy Ridley, and she is really knocking it out of the park in these films. I thought she was really good in Star Wars The Force Awakens, but she was even perfect in Star Wars The Last Jedi. She's really playing a character who's very conflicted, who's trying to find her place and trying to also try to learn what she can from Luke Skywalker. And Luke Skywalker, played by Mark Hamill, man, he is so great to see him come back and see him play this character. But this is a very different Luke. This is a more older Luke, a more defeated Luke, a Luke who's trying to hide himself away from society and trying to avoid this whole war because he feels so defeated and like everything is his fault because of how Kylo Ren, like Ben Solo turning into Kylo Ren, was mainly his fault. So he's really retreated from everything and everyone that he holds dear. I really like that. It's a Luke we haven't seen before, but it's still a Luke that is interesting to watch. And it's not to say that he's all doom and gloom. He's still got some humor to him, which I like, and deep down you can still kind of see that Luke Skywalker that we all grew up with hidden underneath all this stuff. And his interactions with Rey, Mark Hamill and Daisy Ridley, they have really good like banter between them. They have some good, really good scenes, and I love how Luke is teaching Rey of the Force and how to be a Jedi. Because we don't really see Luke actually take on a master or teacher role in the past films, because he himself has really been trying to learn. So it's cool to see him take on this teaching role. While all this is going on, and Rey is really trying hard to bring Luke back to fight the war because he's just hidden himself away. We also got the whole story with the Resistance versus the First Order. The one thing I kind of hated about the story was that this is like a little minor spoiler, but it's not something too big, is that two things, and it's actually about it's about the Resistance. Now, majority of the time the Resistance is just being chased by the First Order. Now, it's not because they're being chased, it's how they're being chased. Now, if you guys have not seen it and you are watching the spoiler review, you'll see what I mean. Most of the movie, it's like a chase, but it's kind of like an awkward chase. I don't really know how to say without trying not to spoil it, but I hope you'll know what I mean. It kind of feels like, wow, this is what's really happening with these guys throughout most of the film. It's kind of like lazy writing almost. And then to kind of help give them the higher hand in this chase, we get a new character named Rose and Finn. Again, Finn played by John Boyega. Not much to say about John Boyega. Again, he did a great job in Star Wars The Force Awakens, so it's pretty much the same here, and his acting isn't any less. It's still as great as it was in the last film. He and Rose, they try to go get something or someone to try and give them the upper hand in this chase to try and survive this fight. But honestly, again, their story was probably the weakest part of the story. It felt like something you can cut out and it could still flow pretty well. Rose, the actress who played her, was pretty good, but I didn't really feel too attached to her. I can definitely feel sympathy for her. I can really enjoy the friendship between her and Finn, but overall, like, I kind of felt like she wasn't that big of a inclusion to this whole new chapter in Star Wars. But for what we got, it was okay. But I kind of personally think that they should have just cut it out and give Finn a little more to do, or at least if that whole story, they could have just had Finn do it by himself, because I don't know, I just didn't really feel that engrossed with her. Poe Dameron, played by Oscar Isaac. Poe Dameron was really great in this film. He got even more screen time than Star Wars The Force Awakens, and surprisingly enough, if you guys didn't know this, he actually was supposed to die in Star Wars: The Force Awakens in the beginning of the film when they crash landed on Jakku. I think he was supposed to die in that, but then they really liked his character and they really liked the actor playing him, so they gave him more scenes and they kept him alive. And it's nice to see him have more of a role here and really trying to take more of a leadership charge, especially when Princess Leia, played by the late great Carrie Fisher, is kind of unable to lead, so he tries to do what he can to really hold the resistance together and keep them alive, which is, it's really awesome to see. He kind of at times reminded me of Han Solo, but he again felt more like his own character, which is great because it's nice that he's not like a ripoff of Han Solo. He's more like, he really is more like this person who's really trying to be a leader and who's just kind of like a hothead and almost and all that. But yeah, I thought he was a really great character in this film, way more than in Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Now we got the big bad Emperor Snoke, who we saw in Star Wars: The Force Awakens, but never in person. We see him in person and the special effects look amazing. I honestly thought he looked like a real character, like a real person. And Andy Serkis playing him, man, that guy just really knows how to do motion capture. Emperor Snoke was a great villain, really great behind the scenes villain who was pulling all the strings. But again, another little spoiler for this is that I kind of didn't like how they handled him. It felt like he was cut out a little too quickly. I guess I don't know if it's more of a preference for me or if maybe it's just something that I feel like they did a little too quickly. But yeah, he was kind of written off the story a little too quick. Yeah, he just kind of like was removed from the story a lot faster than expected. Luckily, with a villain like Kylo Ren, played by Adam Driver, it really makes up for it. Now, what I like is how Kylo Ren, played by Adam Driver again, he's a lot angrier. He's really trying to prove himself even more. He's trying to take in more of the dark side as much as he can, trying to please Emperor Snoke and everything. And it's so cool to see that conflict because even Snoke can see that Kylo is conflicted and the light keeps trying to pull at him, but he's like really trying hard to just cement himself in the dark side. And it's a really compelling conflict to see, and also how people try and get him to go back to the light. And it's really a lot like Anakin Skywalker, but I really like the struggle here to try and bring him back to the light. I thought that was really cool. Kylo Ren is one of my favorite characters. He's probably the third. Anakin and Kanan Jarrus are probably like my first two. And then after Kylo, there's R2 and then Yoda, or no, Yoda and then R2. But yeah, I'm just so glad with the way they handled Kylo in this film. Like, you know, as a fan, I don't know where they could go forward with this film, but I'm really interested in where Kylo goes. I hope that he can be turned to the light and he becomes a good guy, because that would be really awesome. The action scenes were really awesome. A lot of great space fights. The way the director Rian Johnson shoots these action scenes, it's kind of different from J.J. Abrams. What I like about J.J. Abrams shooting in the action scenes for Force Awakens is that a lot of times the camera is really in the middle of the action. It's like it's really following all the ships, all those tracking shots and everything. But the way Rian Johnson shoots the action scenes in this film, like, yeah, a lot of times they can be in the middle of the action and even following the ships, but he has more shots where it's giving you like a big like landscape view. You can really see everything. You can see the depth of the battlefield, like everything happening in the background and the foreground. It's really awesome. So it's cool how he kind of threw in his own little style to it. Now, in terms of the lightsaber battles, those were good. Surprisingly though, I kind of wish that they were a little bit more well choreographed. They were well choreographed, but it just, I kind of feel like Rey and Kylo, like looking at how they fought, it's kind of a downgrade from Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Like there was a little more precision to the way they fought, but here it kind of felt a little more like, I mean, you can tell like they're tired and everything, but in the moment when it happened, it's like, are they really that tired though? Because it's like the first time they're really fighting. You know, I know people say that the fighting in the prequel trilogy was a little too flashy, but in this I kind of wish it was a little bit more. Music by John Williams, man, again, he's kind of dropping the ball, to be honest. I really love his work in the original trilogy and most of all the prequel trilogy, but with these new films, Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, he's made some good themes. I like Rey's theme, I like Kylo Ren's theme, but he hasn't really made a lot of great other themes, like, or even just pieces. Like, I mean, come on, he's done Duel of the Fates, Battle of the Heroes, like March of the Empire and all that stuff, but like with Star Wars: The Last Jedi, Force Awakens, it's like, it's good at complementing the movie, but it doesn't really have that many big like memorable themes as the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy. But still, it's good to hear the classic Star Wars themes, and also of course the Force theme and everything. So again, I'm just glad he's back, but I just wish that he can kind of give us some more themes that we can really enjoy like we did in the last two trilogies. But yeah, overall this movie was a lot longer. It like, I knew it was 2 hours and 30 minutes, and it actually felt longer than that. Like I almost felt like it was gonna go into 2 hours and 45 minutes. I was surprised. There was one part I was thinking like it could be reaching the end already, but I knew from trailers and footage that there was another battle we haven't seen yet, so they had to be saving that for the end. So when that final scene actually came in, that final action scene, I was like, oh, okay, so maybe okay, so then that has to be the big climax, because there's just so much going on. You have these so many different plots. You have Rey and Luke, you have Kylo Ren, you have the Resistance, you have Rose and Finn, and all these things. 4 different subplots in this one whole story. And again, if maybe the Rose and Finn stuff was cut out, then it kind of would have flowed a little better and been a little shorter and been a little more like it would have had like a stronger flow, and then I think the story would have flowed a lot better. But I think that if you watch it, you might enjoy it. I'm actually gonna watch it again, so I think I'm gonna enjoy the pacing a bit more. But overall though, yeah, the pacing kind of caught me off guard with how long it felt. It really felt like they were putting a lot in this film, which was good, because there is so much content, so much material that you can enjoy. And the conflict between the characters is really something to watch. It's really classic good versus evil, which I really enjoy. But yeah, when I was also watching this, it felt a lot like Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back, but it kind of had its own spin to it, which was good. And it even had a little Return of the Jedi vibe to it, which I thought was kind of cool. So it kind of made me wonder by the end of the film where they could go from here. So that's something to wait and see for the future. But overall, for Star Wars The Last Jedi, I gotta give this movie a 4.5 out of 5. I was really kind of stuck on what grade to give it, but I think the best I can do is a 4.5, because again, I feel like the stuff with Rose and Finn could have either been cut out or shortened. There were some, again, like how they handled Snoke and like Luke. Like I just kind of wish that these characters had a little more to do, then the story would have been more interesting. And there's so much build up to these characters, especially in The Force Awakens, but when we finally see them in The Last Jedi, they felt kind of wasted, which was kind of sad. But still, the overall narrative was what was the best part of it, so it kind of made up for it, because as long as the story flowed well and you still cared for the characters, that's where it was the strongest. So yeah, it was strong in those departments. Great action again, awesome music, and overall a great addition to the Star Wars franchise, and another great chapter in the films. But of course, you guys can always go check it out and give your own thoughts, and maybe you might like it more than I did. Maybe you'll think it's the best Star Wars movie, or you might even like it less. But whatever thoughts you have, or like if you've seen the film and you would like to share any of your thoughts, please feel free to share them in the comments below and I'll check it out. Please try not to reveal any spoilers that are too big for those of the viewers who might be trying to not get anything too spoiled. Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching this, and I hope you enjoyed, and take care, and may the Force be with you.